Greetings everyone, welcome to Recreational Knitting. This is my podcast. I'm Karen, and this is where I discuss all my knitting stuff, all my yarn purchases, anything that might be yarn or knitting related. I'm hoping that you had a wonderful weekend. We have had Thanksgiving here in the United States. Today I'm still filming from Charlotte, North Carolina. Although at the end of this, you're going to see some of our escapades from out west. So, we haven't done a whole lot of sightseeing here. We've been visiting family and had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you did too. It's beautiful weather here today. A little chilly, but it rained and blew and was crazy here for about 24 hours, Saturday into Sunday. So I feel very fortunate that I was able to film today outside. I was going to film yesterday, however, we had wind gusts up to the 35 miles an hour. It was kind of crazy. So, welcome. If you're a new person here, welcome. Please hit the like, subscribe, the bells that notify you of any new podcasts that I put up. I will be doing Vlogmas, if I can say it. Yeah, I will be doing Vlogmas. I'm starting on December 1st. My goal is to film every day, but it may not be. No promises. That's a lot of stress to put out some content every day when you are still in one place living in an RV. Those of you that are OGs, welcome back. I'm glad you're here again. I love all your comments, your likes. I'm so happy that you're subscribing. We are at about 710-ish subscribers the last I looked. I will be giving a big giveaway at 750 subscribers. You must be a subscriber. You must I must be able to see you as a public subscriber, and this is going to be worldwide. It's a big Ziploc of yarns, of stitch markers, of knitting needles, just all kinds of love in there. So I just want to thank you for being here and sticking with me. I do appreciate it. Okay, let's get to knitting. Today, I'm not drinking out of my brand new mug. I'm drinking out of my old mug. I've got some cranberry juice here because I have some left over from the holiday weekend, and I don't think you can drink enough. It'd be nice if it had a little vodka in it, but it's not 5 o'clock, so maybe by the time this is posted, I should be pouring it in. Anyway, I have no finished objects. Surprise, surprise. I don't even have half finished objects today. So this is going to be a works in progress, making good progress given the fact that this was a holiday weekend. I did take my knitting to my sister-in-law's a couple nights, and one night I was on a sock, and I was getting to the place where I needed to do some gusset, heel flap, whatever it was that I needed to do. And I had forgotten my pattern, so I had to put it away. So really I only had one night of knitting over at the in-laws, sister-in-law's house. I had this done last time. This is just a pair of scrap shorties that I think this is a Lolo Did It. Ooh, words are real hard today. Lolo Did It yarn in probably her sock base. This is Urth yarns in their sock base, and it's just a shorty sock. And this is where I am. I've started to increase for the gusset. So those should be a finished pair by the next time you see this podcast. Ta-da! And I'm using my delightfully, isn't that adorable, little camper. It's not like our camper, but it's a camper. Very cute progress keeper. So I'll continue to work on those. We are planning to go over to the sister-in-law's tonight for dinner and watch Monday Night Football. So we probably will be maybe finishing those tonight if I'm lucky. From here on out, I don't need a pattern. Another thing that I worked on a bit this week was another anchor. I think I told you last time I had cast this on. And this is where I was the last time. Right up in here. So I've made a, couple inches progress. The jury is out about this particular yarn. I don't know yet. It's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. It should be good for Florida weather. And do I have a ball band in here? Of course I don't. It is Sarasota, made by Barocco. And those of you that don't know about the Anker sweater, it's by Petite Knit, and she's out of Copenhagen. And this is what the pattern looks like. It's a short sleeve. She also has a long sleeve version. I don't know why you'd really necessarily buy the long sleeved if you had the short sleeved and vice versa. But that's what it looks like. It has 5, and depending on the size, it might be 4 or it might be 6. But I did the 3XL, which is not my typical size. This designer is a severe peanut. She's about as big as this. And so I think that, her grading, it just sounds larger than what the measurements are. So if you decide to do that, make sure you do your measurements and come up with the correct size, because you don't want to knit this and have to gift it to somebody little. So anyway, and that's staying nicely put in a simplysock.yarn.com bag. And it's hard to read because it's yellow and it's sunny out here. But it says, today's good mood is sponsored by yarn. Oh, isn't that the truth? And I forgot to show you what I'm keeping my little Scrappy socks in. This is a Fat Squirrel fiber bag. I just love these colors. This rust. If you don't know Fat Squirrel, her name is Amy Beth. She has a podcast. She's a long-term podcaster. I'm going to say like 10 years. And she also makes project bags. And I was lucky to snag one of these because I know she didn't have many in this particular color, but she has a lot of detail. I mean, she's got a little tag here, and she matches the zippers, and she has this little so that you can knit in the wild. Speaking of knitting in the wild, I did that a couple times this week, and it was kind of fun. I didn't film myself doing it, but I went to Panera Bread and enjoyed myself immensely. One woman came up to me. She was probably around 28 to 35-ish, my kid's age, and she said, "Is that knitting or crocheting?" And I said, "It's knitting," because I was knitting on my sweater. And she said that she really wanted to learn to knit, and how could I help her learn to knit. And I told her that I was traveling through the area, that I definitely wasn't the person that she needed to talk to, but to check with her local library to see if they had knitting groups. Sometimes they even sponsor free knitting classes for beginners. And I said, and if you don't have any luck there, check some of the area parks and recreation, because I used to teach knitting at Recreation Council in Maryland when I lived there. And I said, and barring that, certainly, you know, go to your local yarn store. They're going to have all the supplies that you need. It probably will be costlier, but they will give you excellent advice. And we pulled it up on Google while we were there, local yarn shops. And it appears that there's like 3 yarn shops here in the Charlotte area. So she said she was going to go look. So don't be afraid of going out and knitting in the wild. You know, we need more knitters. You know, maybe this gal will become a designer someday, and we'll all be knitting her sweaters. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the photographer hat. This is knit in a Yarnspiration, Universal Yarn, and the colorway is Mardi Gras, and it's Fibra Natura, I believe is the yarn. It's probably a sport weight. I wasn't sure it was going to be ideal for this hat. I thought maybe DK or worsted would probably work out better, but I wanted to make a kind of a wild hat with this yarn. I will be making fingerless mitts after the new year to go with this. And what am I wearing? Let me stand up here. Can you see my shirt? That's what I do. I knit, drink tea, and I know things. So it's very cute. I really like it. So that's what I'm wearing today. No knitted objects around the bodice here. I even have flip-flops on. It's that warm. All right, I'll show you another sock that I'm working on. This I kind of forgot about. I'm sure you never had that. This is the Crunkled Sock by Bakery Bears. And I'd finished one already. And it is in the color Peacock, West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn. Love it. This is like my favorite sock yarn. It's sturdy. It's just really soft, but it wears really well. I really like it. And the Crunkled Socks, for those of you that don't know that pattern, getting it in there. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry by K Baker, somewhere. Anyway, I was down here the last time, but I'd messed up the pattern, so I had to pull back down to the ribbing, and I've turned the heel, and that's where we are. So just need to do a foot, toe, and I'll have another pair of socks. These will likely go to my daughter as well. Yeah. So another work in progress. So if I do what I'd like to do this week, as far as knitting, I should have 2 new pairs of socks. All right, let's show you what I've been doing on my lilac sweater. My sweater based on the pattern Trescao. I cannot begin to tell you who is the designer behind it. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's what I used initially for my first Raglan sweater, and I've changed a little bit of numbers. I've changed ribbings. I've changed lengths of sleeve. It was supposed to be cropped. Well, this old mama isn't going to show anything cropped. So, yeah. So I've changed it so much that, but I do give her credit because she's the one that started all of this. I think the last time I was working on the ribbing. So we've got now the ribbing. Oh, if I turned it around, maybe you could see where the marker was, where I showed it to you last week. So I didn't have very much ribbing yet to go. And I worked a little tiny bit on this sleeve that I had already started, but it's getting there. So if I wasn't doing Vlogmas, I would have this done by Christmas, but I'm going to have other things on my plate. So this will probably go right back in the Harrisville design bag and stay there until maybe the new year. Speaking of the new year, I'm going to have a knit along for January and February to finish up works in progress. I will be showing you after Christmas my works in progress parade. You know, UFOs, all that stuff. And every finished object will get a new one entry into winning. So, and we'll go to the group on Ravelry. I haven't made that yet, obviously, because the cow is 1 month away to start. But when we get there, you need to put a picture of your UFO, and then when you finish it, let's see the finished object. There'll be a chat thread if you want to talk to people and all of that. So look out for that in January. And we'll run that for 2 months, because if you're like me, you might need a couple months to finish up some of these projects, and then we'll have a clean palette, and March will be here, and then we can maybe do a knit along of whatever you want. Put your suggestions below. I know I put out a survey, and some of you said you really didn't want to do a knit along. So that's why I decided to do the works in progress. I thought maybe that might be the best thing for all of us. Try to clean up some of our projects, start wearing them, gifting them, whatever needs to happen. Got one more work in progress I'm going to show you. This is a new cast on, but it's not like those cast ons that you just cast on because you cast on. This is actually one that I've been wanting to do for probably a year, and felt that I just couldn't justify. I had other things that I really wanted to do, but I had so much scrap yarn that I decided to just cast on and get with it. This is the Habitation, I always get it wrong, Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart, and I'm using all my fingering weight scraps. You know, and if I go through them, I mean, this is the same toe of the sock that I'm knitting right now. This was a shawl I made. This was my one skein September. I have some socks that I knit while Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when she passed away, and I call them my RBG socks. So yeah, it's got a lot of memories in it, and it's such an easy TV kind of thing that I'll be adding, you know, a row here, a row there, when I don't really want to think too much. So yeah, I think it's going to be loud and pretty and won't be very, very warm, and that's kind of what we need in Florida. So that's my new cast on. It's not really a cast on. All right. So let's see. I have 2 acquisitions. I broke down and bought Patty Lyon's book, Knitting Bag of Tricks. And I have been leafing through it and reading a few things here and there, there's a lot to be gained by reading this. If you can get it at your library, I think that'd be great. So you can make those decisions whether you really want to purchase it or not. I just thought it would be a really good reference. She talks about binding off. So let me read you some of the chapters here. The fundamental truths of knitting. And she talks about how right-leaning, left-leaning, twisted, all those things make a difference. She talks about gauge and how some tricks about that, which is really a smart chapter. I did read that, and I will be doing more gauge swatching from here on out because of Patty. Yes. She talks about patterns, cast-ons. She talks about increasing and decreasing and why you would use this for this, why you would use this one for this, which is really, really interesting because I'm more self-taught than anything, and that kind of information helps me be a better knitter. Another chapter that she's got is pesky problems and secret solutions. And she talks about joining new balls with superwash, without superwash. We all know how to do it, but she talks about some different ways. And talking about some finishing techniques. So if you are in the market for asking for maybe a Christmas present or a Hanukkah gift, this might be, something you might want to consider. I got it off of Amazon because we were traveling, but try to go into your local bookstore and shop local if you can. Good book. My second, I gotta do the crinkle. My second was a Black Friday purchase, and these are patent Croy socks, and these are this is in the plum. I like purple. And this is really a nice dusty plum. One of you said that one of your favorite sock yarns was the Patton's Croy, and I had never tried it that I know of. I'm thinking maybe my first pair of socks was out of that, but I'm really not certain. However, this is lovely. It looks like a real workhorse. So I bought two balls to make some socks. So those will be cast on, I'm sure, soon. I love making socks, I really do. And it came with some of these little stitch markers. I must have 50 of these. So anyway, new purchases. And then I want to announce our winner from last time. On row 31, I asked you, speaking of your favorite yarn, excuse me, your red sock on there, your favorite yarn. And I did the little random comment picker, which I can't do while I'm filming. Don't ask, it's just technological idiot here, right here. And the winner of that is Danielle Brown. Yay, Danielle! You've won a pattern worth up to $8 on Ravelry. So maybe you can cast something on before the new year and count it in our WIP cow. So please get a hold of me. I'm samplergal, one word, on Ravelry, and let me know. I know some of you cannot use Ravelry, and if you're not aware, you can go back to the old, like 2-3 years ago setup. So if it causes you to have problems, get someone to set it back up for you in the old Ravelry. And Danielle, if you don't use Ravelry, contact me in the email below. All right. Vlogmas. I thought this was going to be a short one. It's really not. I am going to use a couple free patterns. One of them, they're both from Blue Sky Fibers, and I'm going to make little tiny mittens. Now I may start to drink after this, I don't know. And little tiny hats, which may or may not have pom-poms on them, depending on how successful I am. So, I will be knitting these during the month of December. I have my DPNs, a stitch marker. This is my green. This is my white. This is a gray. And this is a red. This is Rowan Belted Tweed. But let's get those DPNs out of my eyeballs. There we go. That will be my colors of my hats. Maybe a screenshot. Anyway, that's you'll be watching some of that transpire. I will try to bleep out the bad words because I'm sure that there is going to be some little thummy things that are going to drive me crazy. Not a fan of DPNs so much. I can use them, but not a fan. So we'll see how that all progresses. You can join in with me. We'll be making maybe some cookies. We'll be doing some holiday things around the area. And I'll be filming some of those. So come and join us. Vlogmas starts December 1st. Yes. Now, one of my things that I wanted to talk about when I started this vlog is my love for books. And I haven't done that since I think the first or second podcast. So I have a book that I'm going to recommend to you. It is nonfiction. It is a heavy subject, and it's probably something that we should all read or hear. I am listening to it on the audiobook thing from my Libby, from my library. So I know that it's available in audiobook as well as a print book and like an ebook. It's by Emmanuel Acho, A-C-H-O, and it is called The Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I think that it is so important to listen to perspective from people of color. He discusses being Nigerian, being a United States citizen, and being of Nigerian immigrant parents, and being grouped with every other Black person on the planet. He talks about systemic racism, which I know that many people don't believe exists. He talks about how to sit down and talk to people of color. And that is his preference of using the label people of color rather than African American, Black, Brown. He says that it's more inclusive and language is important. those are people with color in their skin. So it makes sense. I can't recommend this highly enough. It's really a wonderful book. It's not easy reading. It's not easy listening. It's not fantasy. It's not fun and Christmassy and all of the things. But it's an important book. I hope that at least one of you decides from this podcast to go out and check it out at the library. It's really quite well written. I believe he is now a college professor. He was an NFL player, so he has perspective in a lot of different arenas. So give it a try, see what you think. If you have a good book that you would like to recommend, put it in the comments below. Talk about it among yourselves. It's great. Comments are great. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we're going to have a 750 subscriber giveaway whenever that happens. So you can make the difference. It's free, doesn't cost anything. Like this video if you like this content, would like to see more, and hit the little dingy dong bells over here so that you are alerted when I put up a new podcast, which will be on December 1st. Okay? Now I'm going to take you to, I think we're going to be going to Painted Rocks National Lake Shore. Yes, it's a lake shore, and that is in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Enjoy. Bye.